Hi there. The other day, Louise posted in the FAQs wanting my thoughts on beginner running techniques. So before I begin, let me make it clear, I've never had running coaching. I'm not a member of a running club. I am a self-taught runner, but I'm coming from a place where I despised running. I didn't understand why anybody would want to do that in their leisure time, and I can comfortably now say I'm a runner. I go out 2 to 3 times a week, and on each occasion I run anywhere between 3 to 7 miles, so I'm a nice leisurely runner. So my thoughts are these. Firstly, kit is so important, and by that I'm not referring to the clothes that you wear, because anybody that knows me probably knows that I dress like a tramp, especially to exercise. But when I'm referring to kit, the most important thing is what shoes you wear. And I can't recommend this enough. So I would suggest, if you're going to get into running, I would go and have my gait analysis done. So it's where you go into a shop, go on a treadmill, and you either run or walk. They film, take photos, and they can see whether your feet pronate, they can see whether they supinate, and then from there they'll recommend a pair of shoes for you to buy. And this will make running so much more comfortable. I don't have any knee pains, hip pains that I used to, because I wear the right shoes. If you want to be cheeky, because they will recommend a pair of shoes for you to wear, and a decent pair of runners are probably about 150 quid, but you can, and what I tend to do is go to a Wembley designer outlet, because there's loads of sports shops there. There's a New Balance store. The staff in there are amazing, so if you tell them what your gait analysis said, they'll be able to recommend the right shoes for you to wear. So shoes are key. And number 2, I always like to listen to music because it helps me zone out, and running for me is a way to unwind and to think about my life. And I always wear earphones, but when I wear the wired earphones, all I can hear is and I almost find it quite distracting. So another thing that I bought and I think are great are these are Plantronics. They're wireless earphones, and they're absolutely amazing. Great sound, but obviously put them in the ears and there's no wires to get in your way and distract you. And the third piece of kit, I must be getting old because I wouldn't be seen dead with one of these up until a few years ago. It's a lovely bum bag. So I put my bum bag on, take my essentials, put my phone in there, listen to my music, and I am free. Somebody asked the other day, should I bring water? It's a personal thought. I'm only running 10Ks, up to 10Ks. I don't take water with me. If I'm holding a bottle of water, I'm working my biceps. I'm not working the other side. I feel unbalanced. I feel uncomfortable. I feel distracted. So I make sure that I've drunk ample water before I go. And if I really need a glass of water en route, I just stop in a pub or something like that. But when I run, I want to feel free. There's nothing stopping me. So yeah, there's your kit. Secondly, I work on my mindset. I believe that I can run. I think that I'm a runner. I say all of these positive affirmations. Lots of women that I've worked with in the past say things like, it may work for you, but they say, when I'm running, I just see whether I can get to that next lamppost. And then I say, can I get to that next tree? Personally, I find it really demotivating, because you're purely focusing on the running and how hard you're finding it. And as I said, for me, running is about being free. So I'm thinking lots of different thoughts. I've got to a stage now where I'm just zoning out and thinking about life. But while I was trying to get into running, I'd just be thinking about relaxing my body. I'd be thinking about what good I'm doing for my body, how much more energy I'm going to have, how slim I'm going to be. So all of those kind of thoughts really, really helped my mindset while I was getting in the zone. As for technique, I think there's a million different ways to look at technique. For me, it's trying to use the least amount of energy possible. So for example, when you run, if you don't have a strong core, you'll tend to run and you're going to come side to side and you're going to get tired quite quickly. Got a nice strong core. When you run, you're going to be nice and upright, and the core is nice and firm, because the core is where all movement begins. So for any kind of exercise, you need to make sure that you're working on your core. Other things, relax. You're thinking, how can I relax when I'm running? But I would consciously think about pushing my body down to the floor, so relaxing my shoulders. I would also think about my stride. So as I'm coming close to the floor, I don't want to step too high up, because if I'm taking big strides off the ground, again, I'm going to be using lots of energy. So it's trying to keep my body as close as is comfortable to the ground. The strides aren't too big. And there's loads of different thoughts about how your feet should land. This is my personal thought. If you're a beginner, I used to think about the heel coming down and touching the floor first, followed by the ball of the foot, and then I'll push off the big toe. As I say, lots of people have different ways to do it. That's the way that worked for me. Now I'm a little bit more into running. I might vary that, like if I'm going uphill or downhill, I tend to go on the balls of my feet. But yeah, beginner running technique, just consciously thinking about pushing off that big toe as the last part. What else is there? Oh, and lastly, I don't know if anyone's interested or not, so I'd need to find out from feedback from all of you. But sometimes when I see someone running towards me, I always look at people's technique and their body for any imbalances. And some people have a really bad running technique. And by that, I mean lots of females especially, their knees are coming in, their legs are kicking out to the side. And this is because of muscle imbalances they have in their body. And they would need to rectify these to help their running technique and to make it more enjoyable. So on that note, if you would like to know what I'm talking about, muscle imbalances and how you would find out if you have muscle imbalances and what exercises you could do to rectify them, just post below, and then throughout your program I will definitely make some videos about muscle imbalances and what you would do to change that. So yeah, I hope that has been helpful. Does it compare at all to what your husband suggested? I don't know, it'll be good to hear back. So yeah, oh, sorry, I don't know if I mentioned breathing. Gosh, sorry, it's early in the morning. Breathing is key. So lots of people say in through the nose, out through the mouth. If I'm concentrating on my breathing and trying to do something like that while I'm running, it's almost like trying to do, you remember these crazy things when you were a child? I would find that too much to focus on. And again, I just want to relax. So when I'm running, I'm just trying to relax my breathing. Rather than shallow breaths in the top of my chest, I'm taking nice deep breaths down here. And lastly, if when you're running, this is really key as well, if when you run you can't hold a conversation, you are running too fast. Do not compare yourself. If you're running down the street and 10 people overtake you, if you can't have a conversation, you are still running too fast. Don't worry about what other speeds other people are doing. Focus on yourself. And I really, really recommend go nice and slowly to begin with. And another thing lots of people say to me is, oh, you know, when I'm running, everyone looks at me. I feel really self-conscious. I always look at people when they're running. It's an obsession. I like looking at people exercise. But all I'm ever thinking, and this is the way everyone else is thinking, when they look at you running, they're thinking, you go girl, and that is the only thing going through their mind. So don't worry about other people judging you and your speed. You're on your own journey. So yeah, I hope that video has been helpful. Any feedback, comments below are always welcome, and I hope you all have a great running day. Good weather for it.